and welcome back to 20th Century Dude. Today on this special episode, I am going to be showing you the variety of home video formats that I own for myself. We have 2 tape formats and I believe, well, just a whole bunch of different disc formats. Again, this is strictly for home video, not for audio. Audio I will probably do separately at a later time, but I feel like we pretty much know home audio format-wise what to expect from there. And to start off first, we'll go back to the very beginning with Betamax. Now, I don't know if any of you remember this movie, the Steve Martin movie, Dead Men Don't Wear Plaid. It's basically a Frankenstein's monster of a movie. It's Steve Martin shot in black and white, but the whole plot is basically stitched together by these old film noirs from the 40s, 50s. I think there's even a James Cagney one from the 30s. Because he encounters people like Humphrey Bogart and Ingrid Bergman, of course, stylized way, in a way where he actually isn't on camera physically with them, because to do that, I think, what was it, in the 70s or 80s, would have been very impossible. But to say the least, this plot is very Frankenstein together by all these different film noirs. And, of course, as you may know, Betamax is the format that lost to VHS. Supposedly, Betamax is supposed to be the superior format. I guess the audio remains about the same in quality, but the picture on a Betamax tape is supposed to be slightly better than VHS. Not maybe a noticeable difference, but it's supposed to be an uptick in quality. Maybe on my machine, I disagree. Maybe because my VHS VCR is from, I think, 1994, and my Betamax machine is from 1983. I don't even think it does stuff like hi-fi stereo either. So that, and the tracking you still have to do manually, whereas VHS, it usually, on my machine, does it by itself. But I think it's also because maybe the beta tapes I have, they just sort of, I don't know, degraded faster. Because I know my Mad Max tape, right in the middle there, it just looks and sounds very worn out. So either it's been played one too many times, or somebody was stupid and left it out in the sun, or it's just because it's old and it's as simple as that. It's also a rental tape, so there's that too. And as you can see, the tape itself is obviously different from a VHS. I know they do look like those little compact VHC things you used to put in camcorders, but this is not that at all. I can assure you, not even remotely the same. So I have about 10-ish Betamax tapes, and once I get an influx of hopefully some new movies on it soon, I'll do a video on that. And next up, we have what I would consider one of the kings of these formats, VHS. And I decided to pick a very special VHS tape today because this tape, I don't know where I'd be without it. I believe this is actually the first time I watched Transformers the movie. It was my 8th birthday, I remember. I can remember everything that happened on that day, because I remember that night, I've been working my way, most of the way through the original 80s cartoon, finished season 1, been halfway through season 2, and I said, let's watch this movie, and to say that I wasn't blown away and surprised by everything that happened in it would be an understatement. And not only would I consider it one of the most prized movies I have in my possession, I also consider it my second favorite movie of all time. Definitely in the top 3. I don't know where I'd be without it. And of course, here's the tape itself. I don't think we need to be doing any explanations. I think we all know what a VHS tape looks like. I would assume some of us have probably grown up with it at this point. And for some of you youngins watching the video, this is what we used to watch our movies on, believe it or not. And now we're moving on to the disc formats, and I'm going to present to you the only video CD I have in my collection, Happy Gilmore. And I had a very hard time trying to find a player to play this in. Video CDs can be played in their own video CD players, but they can also be played in most DVD players, as well as some Blu-ray players. And the only Blu-ray player I actually got this to play in was my Sony Blu-ray player that I used in college. And it didn't even really recognize it as like a movie, so to speak. It kind of recognized it if you ever like burn stuff onto a disc. That's kind of what it is. That's for some reason how it recognized it. It does very well act like a CD of sorts. It does only have, I think, maybe 70 minutes per side, or per disc, I should say. And once you finished one part of the movie, I think you had to put the second disc in, which is sort of LaserDisc-ish, I guess, but maybe not practical for the average person. And quality-wise, it looks okay, but maybe it's our newer televisions. It definitely looks somewhat pixelated, I guess. So it's definitely not up there with DVD quality. And honestly, I would say even VHS and LaserDisc have a better picture than what a video CD does. But as of now, this is the only one I have in my collection. And of course, moving on to one of the other kings, the DVD. I don't think we really need to explain the DVD. I think they said it's the most successful home video format since VHS. More movies, in fact, have been put on VHS than any other format. Some have never even left it still. And I'm just demonstrating The Wrath of Khan here because, and the director's edition actually, because The Wrath of Khan is one of my favorite movies of all time. So I figured I'll just get it out and have a look. But I own plenty of DVDs. So much, in fact, I apparently have accumulated so much in the past year that when I moved back home, there was still a box full of these things that would not go on the shelf. So when I had to go home and, of course, rearrange my collection, I had to be making some decisions on what, of course, would be put on the shelf, but also how the heck I'm going to manage storage space in the future. And, of course, moving on, we have some Blu-rays. I'm demonstrating The Iron Claw, which I think is one of the best movies of 2023. I'm pretty sure a lot of us are somewhat familiar with Blu-ray as well. It's been around for almost 20 years at this point. So I don't know if we can consider it old. I don't know. It's higher quality, which, I mean, duh, we know that already. And moving on to the competitor to Blu-ray, we have HD DVD. And I'm demonstrating one of my copies of Doom, which I have not watched yet. So hopefully after the recording of this video, I can actually put in the movie and watch it. I think this is based off the computer game. I don't know. So I probably should have done a little more research, but of course I didn't. And I have 2 copies of the film, which I probably don't need, so I might put one of them up on eBay soon once I get them both tested. So, hey, if one of them works, and you want a HD DVD copy of Doom, I got one right there, so please have. And I believe this was released a month or 2 before Blu-ray, so got a little bit of a head start, because it was only out on the market for like 3 to 4 years. And they were both competing on what would be the successor to the DVD format, which was really popular at the time and even surpassed VHS in popularity. I think back in 02 or 03 is when DVDs started to sell more in VHS, because consumers and audiences were starting to move on at home. And quality-wise, it's about the same-ish. I would say maybe Blu-ray has more of an uptick, although maybe it's also because it's been around for a lot longer. It's been, again, almost 20 years. This only had about 3 to 4 years on the market, so not a lot of time to make improvement. That, and I had to make a few serious adjustments because apparently there's a thing called Warner rot, which I did not take account of before I got some of my first stuff, and I just assumed at first, oh, okay, maybe my HD DVD is an 8DC person, maybe I should give it a Marvel movie instead, ha ha ha. But then I put it in a non-DC Warner Brothers movie called Swordfish, which I'm pretty sure still doesn't work, and it would not read the disc at all. Finally, I apprehended some new copies from a friend as a graduation present, and surprisingly enough, they actually work for now. But yeah, so that's HD DVD, and that was a temporary format that I am now the proud owner of. And once I apprehend some remotes for my player, as well as maybe a new HD DVD movie, I will make a separate video on that. And moving on, we have the 4Ks, demonstrating with the Batman here. And I myself don't have a 4K player. I have a I guess a 4K TV or something that would tolerate it, but I do not have an actual player myself. The only one I know that actually has one is my uncle, so if I did want to use it, I would just have to walk down the hill and use his player, because he's the only one I know that has it. So hopefully I can convince my family that we should invest in one soon, because I have a feeling one of the Blu-ray players is about ready to go out anyway. We've been using it for over a decade, so I think it's about time. We need a new soundbar anyway. And this, of course, is supposed to be the successor to Blu-ray in this case. I'm not sure it's really taking off with the average person because the sales are not quite as there. They're more likely to purchase either DVDs or just stream something. So, unfortunately, 4Ks don't sell well at the average Joe. It's really the collectors and stuff like me that end up buying these. And even before I get a 4K, I do want to try and get a review from a few YouTubers to see if it's actually worth purchasing first before I get it. Because I knew this apparently had a really good 4K, but apparently stuff like Terminator 2 and Curse of the Black Pearl apparently have a horrible, horrible transfer that's horribly reviewed. So I figured, okay, we'll just skip those and I'll go collect the 4Ks that I know have a really good transfer. The Dollars Trilogy is one of those ones I'm looking to get next. So, yep, that's 4K. I really hope there's a bigger future for it in store. Either that, or it will simply become the LaserDisc of, I guess, the DVD world, I guess. And speaking of LaserDisc, of course, that's one of the ones I own. And obviously, I did a video on LaserDisc already, so I'm not going to spend a terrible amount of time on it, but yep, there it is. A disc as big as a vinyl record, and it has almost DVD quality, almost. I'd say maybe a softer picture. Some debate whether the sound is better on a LaserDisc, but again, we have yet to determine that. And I'm demonstrating Tombstone because this movie's on my list of things to rewatch anyway, and it was the first thing I found on the shelf, so that's honestly the only reason I grabbed it. But yeah, that's LaserDisc, a format that over the past year or two I've just grown really, really impressed with. I just love this format. And last but not least, but maybe not among the successful, is CED, which I believe I also did a video on previously. I'm demonstrating Hitchcock's movie Spellbound, which I have yet to watch. Honestly, I still got to fix a needle in my player, and then once that's up and running, hopefully I can actually finally watch the movie and give it back to him. And I believe this is one of 2 Hitchcock movies from the 40s I still have not seen. The other one is The Paradigm Case, I think. But other than that, I would pretty much watch everything from Hitchcock in the 40s. And the reason this has a white caddy is because this is a mono, a movie produced in mono. If this had a blue caddy, that would have meant it's in stereo. Although, honestly, with the player I have, it's in mono anyway. So it really just doesn't make that much of a difference. It doesn't really matter at that point. But yeah, so that's CED. And to say it was a flop would be an understatement. It was probably released about 5 to 10 years too late. It made its debut a few years after the LaserDisc, which we could probably consider to be the more technologically advanced format anyway. That was read by a laser, and this, of course, was read by a needle, which, of course, was part of its downfall. Not to mention, it got a little clunky after a while. It had a tendency to skip, which did not help in its case. But yep, that's CED. And that only lasted a couple years in the format war. So overall, I would say that's pretty much the variety of home video stuff I have in my collection so far. I think that makes it about 7, 8, maybe 9 a variety of formats that I own. There's still a few things that I would like to pick up in the near future, but I think because I would have accumulated what is, I guess, easier for Americans to import so far, maybe it's a good idea to stop right there. And other than that, I think what I would like to own, one is called the Video High Density Disc, if anybody remembers that. That was basically Japan's attempt for doing vinyl video, and I guess that's also read by a laser. So there's a little, I guess, tech cross-compatibility or something they did there. And I think, from what it sounds like, it seemed to have worked better in its approach. But I don't think it was really brought over to America at all. And the cheapest player I found, I think, was like $900 on eBay, and even that was like for parts and not working, which of course I didn't get because I just don't want to be spending $900 on something that doesn't work. Duh. But that's something I really hope to acquire in the near future. There's also the D-Theater VHS, or just called D-VHS, which was the high definition attempt to surpass the DVD and try to keep VHS going in some way, some form or option. But it only lasted, I think, maybe 2 to 3 years in the market because, again, consumers didn't pick up with it and they had already acquired DVD, so why go back to tape again, basically, in a nutshell. There would only be a handful of movies I would be able to acquire for it anyway. But then again, I've not found a player that actually works and stuff to acquire for it. But D-Theater is another one I want to get. The MUSE Hi-Vision LaserDisc is something I want to get. That's sort of the, I guess, prototype HD, I guess, is what you would call for a LaserDisc. That was, I think, a Japan-only thing in the 90s. Maybe it was imported over, but I don't remember. But that's really hard to acquire because it could be like $1,200, $1,500 for a player, and it may or may not even have working hardware inside. So that would be like if I had like Jeff Bezos' money, I could just go out and get whatever I wanted, I guess. So there's that. I don't know if any of you are familiar with Video 2000. That was another tape format from the 1980s. And basically what that was, it looked like a bigger version of an audio compact cassette. And once, again with the flipping things over, once part of it was over, you have to flip it to the other side to either finish recording or, watch your movie. What other movies would have been featured on the format. And I don't think it got a lot of exposure in America because I think Tecmo even calls it the format that came third in a 2-horse race, as he called it. So that's also another one I'd like to acquire. Unfortunately, again, the cheapest player I found is like $1,000, and I don't even think it works on eBay. So we're gonna put that to the side for now. But hopefully in the future I can acquire Video 2000. What's another one? If we want to go really obscure, there's always Cartrivision. Although that's like built into the TV, and those are like prone to fail probably at this point. So that would be maybe a 90% no. I don't know. So probably won't come across any Cartrivision stuff in the near future. And I think there was one more I wanted to acquire. I forget what it is though. I think Tecmo and maybe would have done a video on it before. I think it's another disc format. Would have been before Blu-ray, or maybe during. I don't remember. Just other things I would like to acquire in the future. Whether or not they'll actually appear, whether or not I'll actually get them, probably not. I guess I have a higher chance of maybe trying the D-Theater VHS, but again, that's we shall see kind of a thing. Well, other than that, that's all the formats I own. We have CD, LaserDisc, DVD, Blu-ray, 4K, HD DVD, video CD, VHS, Beta. So that's about nine different formats, 9 different ways. You can watch a movie that doesn't require streaming it. So yeah, other than that, that's about all I have for today. Again, hope to see you guys again soon. Again, keep liking the videos, keep catching up with the videos, please, so we can get the channel moving and rolling. And otherwise, have a great rest of the day. So, see ya.